Most people think that they are looking after animals. If you throw something in the lawn or in a garden or on the green patch, you think that it will biodegrade, something like paper. It does not. So what is happening? People are getting less and less rations. We need to look after them because we have constructed the world in such a way that they have become helpless in front of our aggression. We are in a state of permanent warfare with the rest of the world. Things evolve with our own sensitivities.
First of all, thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us. Well, our whole team couldn't be here, but on behalf of the whole Team AP podcast, I would like to put forward the gratitude of our team for being with us and sparing some time out of your busy schedule.
Fine.
Ma'am, to begin with things, I would like to straight away jump towards that one particular genre that is, you're working very actively over there since a long period of time. So for the starters, ma'am, I would like to ask you this very one particular thing. You being arounded the animals, you have seen their issues, you have seen their problems and everything. What do you feel is the actual value of the connection between humans and animals? And why we should move towards that, how we should respect that, and how we should comprehend that in our own lives?
Well, I think that's a very good question. And it's the basic question of everything. Most people think that they are looking after animals. And therefore, they look after, they don't look after, they see it as a personal choice. In actual fact, if I were to tell you that your body is sick, now it's a choice whether you take the medicine or you don't take the medicine. You will take the medicine. If I tell you that the planet is on the verge of collapse, and if you do not change your style, it's finished. And it will finish during your generation, not later. So then you will immediately rush to do something. So we do not look after animals. Animals protect us. Every time you lose an animal, you will make your life more, you'll put your life in danger. To give you an example, none of us did anything about sparrows, right? We had so many sparrows, thousands, millions of sparrows, and they came into everybody's house. In fact, the word chidiya means sparrow. And then they disappeared. They disappeared because we had too many pesticides, we did not leave space for them anymore, nobody was feeding them, we cut down their trees, we cut down their bushes, so they disappeared. Now, when the locusts come, as they do now regularly from Africa, because it's raining far too much in Africa because of global warming. So the locusts have increased 600 times. They have no longer any food there. So they come to India, they come to Pakistan. And the only birds we had which could protect us from locusts were sparrows. Now, when there are no sparrows, there is no protection against locusts. They have eaten up over 180,000 hectares of crop last year, which means that your grain, your vegetables will become more expensive. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's take cockroaches. Right? Nobody likes cockroaches. But they do two things. One is that when you go to the bathroom, when you have a bath, things go through the drain. The emissions from your body, your feces, your urine, are so dangerous, so polluting, so poisonous, that they will destroy the water within 3 days. But cockroaches eat them. And cockroaches' emissions are clean. So therefore, you are saved by them. If you throw something in the lawn or in a garden or on the green patch, you think that it will biodegrade, something like paper. It does not. You can pick up a paper, you can bury a group of newspapers, a bunch, and 50 years later they'll still be there. The only thing that turns them back into soil are cockroaches who come out into the lawns and eat them up, turn them back into soil so that you can grow something. So they are more valuable to the earth than you are. Like that, you take anything. For instance, snakes. I'm deliberately choosing those animals which nobody loves. So you take snakes, you keep killing snakes. Now what has happened? As a result, of us killing snakes, 99% of which are what is known as rat snakes, which eat rats, lizards. Your silos in which your grain is put so that it can go to poor people and be distributed. 1/4 of all grain in this country is eaten by rats. And 2 rats become 36,000 in 1 year. The only check we had on them was snakes. But you killed all the snakes. So the result was that there is no check for rats. So what is happening? People are getting less and less rations, which they wouldn't have if there had been snakes. So like that, you can ask me about any animal. And each animal is more valuable than you and I are. And if we do not look after them, why do we need to look after them? Because we have constructed the world in such a way that they have become helpless in front of our aggression. We have guns, we have nets, we have bulldozers, we have things to kill them all the time. We are in a state of permanent warfare with the rest of the world. So, if we do not stop that, and if we do not cherish them, we are finished. There are only 1,000 tuskers left. There are less than 10,000 elephants left in India. Once they go, you will lose over 80 kinds of plants and fruit because they are the ones who spread it. यहाँ से खाते हैं, वहाँ बीज गिराते हैं. Now we are using the most dangerous pesticides in the world. Pesticides that have been banned by most countries. They are called neonicotinoids. We have been using them since 2013, made by a company called Bayer. These neonicotinoids are used by us for no reason. We use the most dangerous pesticides in the world, and they have been banned by most countries, but India continues to use them. And how did we get into this trap since 2013? First, American companies said to us that you grow cotton. This cotton is eaten by several insects. Now, if you buy our GM seeds, genetically modified seeds, those seeds will not need any pesticide or fertilizer. So we converted all our cotton to GM cotton. Now that GM cotton turned out to be a lie. They need even more pesticides, and they need much more dangerous pesticides. So we started buying then, क्योंकि हम उसके साथ फंस गए थे. So now we had to buy neonicotinoids. Now neonicotinoid pesticides kill every good insect. They'll kill the bad ones. There are no such thing as bad ones. But they will kill. What they have done is they have had a major effect on bees. So 70% of the bees have disappeared in India. Now if you don't have bees, you can have no pollination. That means your flowers are disappearing. You will not be able to pollinate your wheat. You will not have any crops of fruit left. So if you do not remove the neonicotinoids, your generation will suffer from a massive lack of food. Then somebody clever will say, no, then we'll eat meat. But even your meat-eating animals are eating grain. So if you don't have grain, you won't have meat. So therefore, we come back to your original question is, why should we look after animals? Because if you don't have them, you won't have any food, you won't have any earth, you won't have any water, you won't have anything. That is why.
And ma'am, you were mentioning about people eating meat. So there is already a lot of, things out there that people are doing. Some are shifting towards keto diets. Some are shifting towards, completely being a carnivore. That is completely sticking towards the meat thing. And there are some people who are shifting towards veganism. So what do you feel about this overall scenario, and how do you see this from your own perspective?
No, what's the question? People eat meat and people don't eat meat. Yeah. The people who eat meat are destroying the whole world. It takes 11 kilos of grain to make 1 kilo of meat. Okay? It takes 60,000 calories to turn 1 kilo of meat edible. Fridge mein dalna, phir se banana, garam karna, etc. That takes calories. It takes petrol to transport the meat. It takes petrol to run the factory to cut the animal. Can we afford that much? energy on one animal. And then does it, anybody who grows animals for food goes to the jungle. All the bears, all the buffaloes, all the cows, all the goats, sheep, they're all in jungles. So when they go into the jungle to eat, they finish off all the small shoots and the shrubs. So therefore the jungle starts getting smaller and smaller. When the jungle gets smaller and smaller because nothing new is growing, the rain stops coming. When the rain stops coming, then you have no grain. You have no vegetables. So the person who eats meat is eating your forest, he's eating your water, he's eating your grain, he's eating your fields, he's destroying the whole world. And most importantly, all animals grown for meat emit a gas from their anuses all the time called methane. Methane is 24 times more destructive than carbon dioxide in causing global warming. What is global warming? The fact that this whole of this May and June, we've had rains. Right?
Yeah.
We should not have had rains in May and June. Now your wheat crop has gone. So now next year wheat will be double the expense. Where will you eat it from? You'll have to eat less.
True.
Suppose you're a family earning 10,000 rupees a month. How are you going to afford the doubling of prices? You just have to eat less. You'll stop going out. You'll stop 5,000 other things. So this is global warming. And the focus has been always on carbon dioxide. But carbon dioxide is not a problem. The actual problem is methane. And methane is a gas that creates immediate heat. And if you, and it comes only from 3 sources: rice, coal, and animals. Now you can't stop eating rice, and you can't stop the use of coal, but you can stop eating meat. Because every time you eat meat, you have created more global warming. And it's reached a point where there are floods, there are famines, there are forest fires. All this is a result of global warming. Very soon, within the next 10 years, we're not going to have enough food for the world. And then there'll be mara-mari. And why? Because somebody ate meat.
So, ma'am, do you feel that genetically modified things, technology is being implemented everywhere? So, do you feel when it comes to the edible sources, the food that we eat, if it's being genetically modified by use of technology, that's ethical?
Over the years, you're using this word too loosely. Over the years, all fruit, all vegetables have been modified in some way or the other. A tomato that's this big has been modified because a normal tomato is this big. Most fruit has been, but it's done in a way that is gradual. You take a good pear, which you like, and then you get the seed out of it, then you use that pear again and again and again. So you'll get different kinds of mangoes, different kinds of pears, different kinds of tomatoes. This is not, all of this is genetic modification, but done in a natural way. So that, for instance, you are much taller than your grandfather. And you will marry a girl who's as tall as you. Then your children will be even taller than you. Yeah? That's modification, that's genetic modification, but done in a natural way. And then there is another genetic modification in which you take the DNA and you start fiddling with the DNA in a laboratory. And you take out the DNA which is at number 7 and you put it at number 2. You have no idea what is going to be the result of that. Let's give you an example. The genetic modification of a dog to make it white in color has been done deliberately. So you have got Pomeranians, you have got Spitz. Now they have been genetically modified to be white in color. But a dog that is white cannot hear. So they have...
And why is that, ma'am? Why he can't
Because
hear?
the gene has been fiddled with.
Okay.
So the gene that gives it the white color also gives it lack of hearing. So you have yippee, yippee, yippee dogs, and they can't hear. They're in a horrible condition.
Yeah.
So when you talk about genetic modification of plants or of animals, we are not, talking about the natural modifications. We are talking about a chemically laboratory-induced forcible modification. Those are very dangerous.
Ask you about this, and I wanted to know your opinion about this. Many times for clinical experiments and even other experiments to showcase, how this thing would react on an human behavior. So there are scientists out there who do experiments on animals. There could be rats, there could be anyone. So about this experiment thing being done on the animals, what do you feel about this?
I'm totally against it.
Yeah.
For the simple reason that I can't see a single medicine that has come out of experimentation. After all, let's look at it two ways. It's philosophical. If I believe that a dog or a rat is a human being, then I should not treat it like a dog or a rat. Then I should give it the same respect as I give you. Right?
Yeah.
If I do not believe that it's a dog or a rat, that it's a human being, then whatever I experiment on it is not going to be replicated for me. Let's take the case of penicillin. When penicillin was being created in the 40s, they tested it in animals and they found that it didn't work at all. So they threw it away. And then somebody picked it up and said, let's test it directly on human beings. And found that yes, it was excellent for human beings. So what works for a rat does not work for a human being. What works for a dog or a pig or a horse does not work on human beings. So why are we testing on them? Not a single medicine has come out of testing on them. But we don't want to test on human beings. So we test on animals for no reason. They have different genetic makeup.
Yeah, I do get that, ma'am. And from here, ma'am, I would like to move towards more of the India perspective over here. Like, as in when we consider this country, it's quite diverse. There are multiple cultural regimes in every aspect of this country. So with that, sometimes there is this collision of decision that is, sometimes either you can be cultural or you can be ethical, especially when it comes to animals. One day you could be saving animals, but the other day the animal is involved in a very cultural practice, which could be eating, which could be, sacrificing the animal.
Things that are wrong, especially animal sacrifice. Right? Now the question is, whether we say it's cultural, you cannot excuse anything for being cultural. There was a culture that existed 600 years ago. The same thing doesn't apply here. Otherwise, it was a culture to ride on tangas. Why are you riding in cars? Things evolve with our own sensitivities. We know much more now than we did 600 years ago. So why are we still doing things like animal sacrifice? You're tearing out, for instance, especially in Andhra and Telangana, the animal sacrifices that take place are truly appalling. A man will come, he'll tear out the throat with his mouth of a lamb. How will that get him God? Which particular God is waiting there to see a dead lamb whose throat has been torn out by a human being? If, let us suppose, in any case, animal sacrifice has its roots in other things. Normally, how did it start? For two reasons. One, they say the Devi requires blood. Now, this was a Brahmanical system. When the Brahmins ruled, what happened was that if you are a married Devi, Parvati, Lakshmi, Saraswati, then you wear beautiful clothes and you sit with your husband in a temple. But if you are a virgin, if you are a goddess who's alone, then you are a bhayanak. You've scared the Brahmins. You scared your neighbors just in case aap dori dalte ho unke pati par. You are a dangerous entity because you're a single woman, and a single woman who's in charge of her own life. So what do? You call them bloodthirsty. You put them under the ground. You put them on hills. And you say, oh, this is the Devi. And you have to give her blood. And what is the blood about? Menstruation. That she does not have children. Therefore, she's surrounded by blood because every month she loses her blood. So it's an insult to women. And this was started during those Brahmanical days when they really did not like women who did not get married. Secondly, it is also started for an economic reason. When do people ask for things? Usually, you ask in a farming culture, you ask God for help when your harvest is going to come in. Please, Bhagwan, give me a good harvest.
Yeah.
If you have a good harvest, you can get your daughter married, you can pay your school fees, you can do so many things. So now, when you go to ask to a temple, then the priest says, I've had a dream that you should sacrifice a goat, and then only your harvest will work. Now, how does the priest have the dream? He has gone to a money lender. The money lender has paid him money to have the dream. The money lender works for whom? In those days, the Maharajas. So the farmer goes to the money lender because he has no money. He is waiting for his harvest. And he says, okay, you give me some money now. When the harvest comes, I'll pay it back. So he used to take money to buy the goat, or buy 6 goats, or whatever the priest had a dream about. Yeah? And then ask for something. And then when the harvest was not good, then he could not pay the money lender. The money lender would take the land. The land would go to the Raja. So there was a whole mafia
running behind this.
To dispossess small farmers.
Okay.
That's all it was. Now the time has come to stop this nonsense. The third reason is also in modern times. If you notice, most of these animal sacrifices are usually led by ex-Maharajas. The ex-tribal leader, the ex-Maharaja, the ex-prince of Kalahandi, of Kangra. Now these people have no importance in real life. They live in their palaces, or they don't live in their palaces. They play polo, they waste money, they drink, they do whatever they want to. But once a year, they get to dress up like the Purana Maharaja, they put their crown on, all the people walk behind them, they take out their swords and they chop somebody's head off. So once a year, they feel like kings. So most of them, at least in Kalahandi and Kangra, they encourage this animal sacrifice because it's their ego that needs to be stroked. So none of this has anything to do with God.
So you believe there is this whole concept of monarchy and economics, and then also the overall culture of this hierarchy that we have in the society that is shifting towards this.
That needs to be removed.
Yeah.
After all, if we take cultural, then it culturally used to have sati. Then why are we still not burning widows? Because you got rid of it. It was rubbish.
Yeah.
Why do you not have thuggy? People waiting to kill you. Gangs. You don't have it. There's so many cultural practices that we have simply discarded. After all, why are you using electricity? Then put candles in your house. That's also culturally, right?
Yeah, true.
Then, so things we outgrow, we need to outgrow.
All right, ma'am. Then, in the end, I would just like to ask you about this thing that this initiative that you have, and the youth is the youth country that we have right now, the people that we have right now, the college folks that we have right now, who are extremely active on social media, who might be following you, who are out there. What would be your message to them when it comes to the preservation of animals?
It's not preservation of animals. I have a simple message, and that is always be kind. It's good economics, it's good compassion. In an overcrowded world, whenever I lift my hand, I don't want to hit your nose. Yeah? But it's possible to do that because now we are so overcrowded. In this case, I should only be operating with compassion. If you operate with compassion, you are living mindfully. If you're kind to all humans, people, if you have patience, if you see yourself in everyone else, and don't operate with sympathy but with empathy, you will find that the world changes. It's because we rush to attack each other, especially now with social media. If you say something horrible on social media, everybody loves it. If we attack somebody, it's wonderful. You get thousands of views. But if I say something nice, then 10 people will like it.
Yeah.
So why not change and just be nice?
Yeah.
It doesn't harm you. It creates a much better atmosphere. You know, there is a man in Japan who has spent all his life studying water. And I attended a seminar where he was speaking in a place called Delphi. And he showed us, he demonstrated to us, because he's a scientist, that when you get a glass of water and you're going to drink it, if you tell the glass of water, thank you very much, you are entering my body, please do good for me, and I appreciate the sacrifice you are making to enter my body. Once you look at the molecules, you will find the molecules have arranged themselves in the water to be like medicine. If you take a glass of water and you say, you're disgusting, you're rubbish, I hate you, you're just water, what rubbish is this? And then you test the molecules, immediately you'll find that water has become poison. So if water can change by your being nice to it, think what effect it would have on a dog if you just came by and gave it something to eat. Or if you refuse to eat meat, so that the high of that suffering animal does not affect the whole world. The whole world suffering is because we kill animals. After that, do you not think that the inka high se hamari puri zindagi nahi badalti hai? If water can change, what can their highs do to us? So, the point is that to understand the water theory and just simply be nice. If you get up in the morning and the first thing when you're out of your door, you say, smile at somebody and say nice things to somebody. You feel better, they feel better. And you'll find you get more lucky as the day goes on. It brings luck. This is what is called living mindfully.
That's really a very wonderful mindset, ma'am. And I hope
it's the only way to survive, darling.
Yes,
it's not preaching. It's not a guru's thing. I'm not telling you to meditate, nothing. If you just be kind to yourself, to everybody around you, to the animals, when you wake up in the morning, just see when you go for a bath, if there are any ants there, put them aside. You'll find how much luck comes your way. Because the world changes. With each good deed, the world changes.
True, ma'am. That was all from my side, ma'am. I hope you enjoyed this conversation.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.